Good morning, guys and girls. Lynette Oxley here for Chat TV. I was not actually planning to do an insert today, but was not sleeping well during the night, like we do in these trying times that we're experiencing in South Africa right now. So I had time to read Facebook. An advert came up for a tactical course specifically for ladies. It mentions, don't be led to believe that being able to shoot accurately on a range or competing as a sport shooter will prepare you for a real life situation. I personally have a problem with some of these statements. Although we would all like to be Lara Croft and be super cool and tactical, very few situations, even in the South African environment currently, will require you to climb walls and shoot in funny positions. Most of our attacks are going to be head-on. Shooting skills far outweigh physical aptitude in most cases. I'm not saying that this training does not have its place. All training with your firearm is always good. The other problem that I have with this is the dissing of sport shooting and its contribution. This is just not true. If you look at some of the all-time great defensive shooting experts, most of them contributed to sport shooting in some or other way. I, for example, think of Jeff Cooper. I live by his 4 safety rules on a daily basis. Always point your firearm in a safe direction. Keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to shoot. All firearms must be treated as if they are loaded. Know your target and what is behind it. He also started with the different color codes for threat assessment, which we all use on a daily basis as well. White, yellow, orange and red. He was very much involved in getting sport shooting off the ground. Another such person is Larry Vickers, a huge proponent of sport shooting. Do not just dismiss sport shooting. So maybe it's time to give a bit of background on myself and where my absolute love for firearms started. I met my husband in the late 80s when we were both studying at Toronto Afrikaans University. I joined the shooting club. After I got married in 2003, I got my first handgun for self-defense, which was a Glock 36. It's a subcompact 45. I currently carry a Glock 30S, which is also in 45, but with a bit of a higher capacity. I personally like 45s. It's a personal preference and it's not for everyone, but yeah, personal preference. I started sport shooting in 2007 in IDPA, International Defensive Pistol Association. I was involved in IDPA for about 10 years. I was a competitor, safety officer and a safety officer instructor. During that time I mostly shot 1911s, still absolutely love 1911s, probably my favorite handguns. Very expensive to shoot and unfortunately I broke a lot of guns during that period, including a lot of sights. I got my first long guns in around 2008-2009, which was a LM6, which was a self-loading rifle, and a Mossberg 500. During this period I went for many training courses to sharpen my skills, including detailed handgun, self-loading rifle and shotgun courses. I mostly did these courses through still one of my favorite trainers, Adrian Rosley, or Ross, which is very well known for his flowery language. And I can still hear him on a regular basis behind me saying, finish the fight. But one of the best trainers out there. I still highly recommend him as a trainer. I also started with him doing close quarter combat courses as well. So close quarter combat courses are very similar in a small way than the tactical course that initiated this discussion. I've learned a couple of things from the CQC courses. Firstly, you need to trust your partner and the trainer and the other people that's with you in the course. When you start doing funky stuff, you need to know who you're doing it with, who's the person next to you that you put your trust in. Very, very important. Otherwise, people can get hurt. The second thing that I learned is I never want to get involved in a knife fight. Everybody gets hurt. Another skill that is extremely important is that you have to know your particular firearm, of extreme, extreme importance. Lastly, maybe as an afterthought, it was very interesting to see how your shooting position changes the way you shoot, and how you can actually rack your firearm if one of your arms are hurt and you have to rack it on a shoe or something like that. Just some interesting stuff that is good to know. So currently, what am I busy doing? I run a very large sport shooting club at Cecil Payne in Roodepoort, called Tack Shack Shooting Club. I run a small gun shop. And then in terms of sport shooting, I'm doing IPSC and 3-Gun Nation. The latter is my absolute favorite. Guns that I'm currently using is a Smith & Wesson M&P 9 Pro. That is for the handgun. In terms of 3-Gun Nation, I use a Troy A4 rifle with a Trijicon ACOG scope on it. It's a 2x scope. In terms of shotgun, I use a firearms SAT-8, which is a semi-auto shotgun chambered in 12 gauge with an RMR scope, RMR reflex sight on it. And then lastly, one of my favorite guns are a Trevela CMS, which is chambered in 308, and it's an absolute awesome rifle for long range shooting. So it is quite obvious that I love guns, all guns. I recently made a remark on social media saying how I love my Trevela rifle, which I got for my birthday a couple of years ago. One of my non-gun gun friends remarked and says, love is a bit of a strong word. And I said to her, not really. In terms of 1911s, the Trevela, etc., I love 1911s. Always put a smile on my face. The Trevela is also something that when I see her or shoot her, it makes me happy. It's just one of those things. So people that know me know that I'm very much involved in gun rights, and especially in terms of women and our civil liberties to be able to defend ourselves. In 2015, I started something called Girls on Fire. Some of the hashtags that we use is victim no longer, I'm every woman. And the big thing is to teach women to be able to defend themselves with firearms and as a way of not being victims in the future. So firstly, why do I say sport shooting can contribute to you in terms of self-defense? Firstly, you get to know your firearm in detail. You shoot it often, you do repetitive motions, you build muscle memory. I shoot between 4 and 8 times a month, and you learn about your firearm and shooting every time you go out and shoot. And it's an easy way to actually learn. Another point is that as a sport shooter, you learn to clear stoppages and all kinds of stoppages. Well, in my case, I had a Glock 21 and I used to have to clear 5 different types of stoppages in each and every course of fire that I did. It's something that you learn and you do it without actually thinking about it. So if in a real life situation you need to clear a stoppage, you are able to do so without actually thinking about it. It's a very good skill to have. So you also learn about what capabilities you have, what shots you can take at what distances, can or can't you do certain things, will you be able to handle a certain situation. You learn about your gun. It's not the panacea, but it's a way for you to actually practice your skills on a regular basis. So yes, go and do the funky stuff. It can contribute to your skill level. It can be a lot of fun. But don't think you're going to become Lara Croft or Rambo. It's not how it works in the real world. So my message to you is to be sensible about your firearm related training. Make sure you choose a good trainer and that you do the right training at the right time. Have an awesome day and be safe out there.